So Horizon prioritizes respectful ad formats, making sure that they don't disrupt the viewing experience. And we do that by really taking a look at what capabilities are behind these offerings. Is this strictly what I used to call the viewability ambulance chaser, where it's like, hey, we're going to be viewable, but you're not going to want to really see us? Or is this something that is additive, that's bringing value to our clients, that is something that could be proven out from a performance perspective, whether that is, hey, this is a more engaging ad, or something that's further down the funnel. So we take all of that into consideration and really prioritize those ad positionings that are in premium, well-lit environments on well-known properties. And then we go hard to make sure that we can get everything we need for our clients out of those positions.
So what role does context-aware placement play in driving those better results, better performance for Horizon clients?
Yeah, so for a while, it really felt like you had context sitting on one end, you had audience sitting on the left, and often there wasn't that mixture of the two. But what we find and what we know is that 1 + 1 = 3 in that format, where we could develop our audience segments utilizing our Blue platforms. We were able to gain insights from Blue to say, hey, this is the content that we want to be in, that we want to run in, that's going to resonate with our desired audiences. And then we pair that together to make sure that contextual targeting is a part of whatever tactics we decide to proceed with.
So storytelling and contextual go hand in hand. There's a greater awareness of that these days. But wanted to get a sense of how you're helping brands really embrace storytelling that actually adds value for viewers and not just is a nice thing to hear.
Yeah, so storytelling is really an interesting thing that we've seen evolution recently of. So again, I just mentioned Blue. So our Blue platform, we're endeavoring and designing creative capabilities to better score and understand how creative really weaves through the full story all the way through to performance and conversion. So it's not just a story for brand storytelling for brand lift's sake, but how's storytelling go from brand awareness, brand lift, all the way through to measurement and conversion. So that's something that we're very focused on, and we believe that there is a mix of art and science that needs to come together to tell those stories.
So Alex wanted to lean in a bit more to that art and science continuum, and wanted to see what performance metrics you're leaning into beyond the usual CTRs.
So CTR was something we looked at so many years ago. I think what so many marketers and people that came up in the digital industry found was like, hey, this is kind of fool's gold. You had high bounce rates once people landed on the wherever it was, landing page, apps, or for downloads. So really, instead, we're focused on some of those deeper conversions or KPIs that link directly to business outcomes, right? And we look at multi-touch attribution because, again, we know that you could see an ad in several places, and the culmination and frequency of seeing those ads really is what helps pay off. We just talked about storytelling and how that really has to be threaded through your entire media campaign, and so you really have to make sure that you're measuring through multi-touch attribution and whatnot. What we found is looking at things like interaction and looking at attention. The correlation of those items to more lower funnel conversions and actions, there's a high correlation there. So again, if we don't have all the bells and whistles of multi-touch attribution, we look at some of those factors, we look at return on ad spend, we look at ROI, but ultimately it's about business outcomes and making sure our clients are feeling satisfied and they're able to walk into a boardroom and say their campaigns were a success.
Okay. Alex, lastly, it's kind of a hard world out there sometimes, so I wanted to ask you a little bit about the idea of kindness and creativity, and wanted to know, as you talked again about that mix of art and science, how do you balance creative kindness with the pressure to deliver high performance results?
Yeah, creative kindness, I think it's funny, right? Back in the day, they used to call things like the polite ad. And the polite ad was an ad that wasn't a heavy load, and it was there on the page, and maybe nobody paid attention to it. But we've gotten away from that. Not that it's a terrible thing, but I think we kind of have to make sure that there's an additional value component, or like an understanding that, hey, we are taking somebody's valuable time to show them this ad. Let's tell them something they don't know. Let's provide a limited time offer. Let's share this coupon code, whatever it is, with them during this moment, and let's give them the option to opt out, to close the ad. Let's not make it a game where you have to find the X. Let's make that prominent. Let's make sure that if this is a pre-roll, that it can be skippable in those skippable style environments. So those are things that we really pay attention to, and want to make sure that our partners are coming through with products that can do that.